Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back in another video today, and I'm going to be previewing the Houston Texans game for tomorrow as they play the Jacksonville Jaguars at 12 o'clock in Houston, Texas, as they have a 9-game winning streak against the Jacksonville Jaguars, trying to make it 10. I mean, what a winning streak it's been against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, they haven't lost to the Jags since Watson's rookie year, I believe. So the Texans never lost to the Jags when Deshaun Watson was on the field. They did not lose last year when Taylor and Mills started. They beat the Jags earlier in the season. So the Texans have a long streak against the Jags. They have success against the Jags. So I think it should be a very interesting matchup tomorrow. Because the Jaguars, for a team who's trying to win a division, this game has no effect on them tomorrow, since if they win or lose, they play the Tennessee Titans next week, so they'd still have, with the tiebreaker, they'd still win or lose, they'd still be number one in the division. So this game does not affect the Jags at all. Not until next week, the Jags affect when they play the Tennessee Titans next week for the division. So it doesn't matter if the Jaguars beat us tomorrow or if they lose, they still are playing for the division against the Titans next Sunday. I'm assuming that game will end up being the Sunday Night Football game. They haven't announced that yet, but I'm assuming they will. That will be our Sunday nighter for Week 18. Let's get in this game. We're going to start with the Texans injuries. Same old our IRs for the Texans. Dameon Pierce still in the IR, of course. Derek Stingley, and Nico Collins. All those guys have been on the IR. Tegan Quattanaro, the tight end, is out for the Texans. He had a decent game against the Titans last week. And then Dara Okongwe, running back, is questionable. He's been limited in practice all week, so it should be interesting to see if he is a go tomorrow. Even if he isn't, I don't think it really matters if he isn't. Still have Royce Freeman and Rex Burkhead. They were successful against the Titans, so I don't think it's a problem if DeRay is not available. So I think that if he can't go, he can't go. Besides that, it's just a bunch of IR injuries. We might see some late inactives for the Texans tomorrow. Jay Howard has been late scratched a lot. Healthy scratches. You'll see those. I'll go over the inactives tomorrow, my Houston Texans pregame. So, that's same old for the Texans. Every team does that, though. Jaguars injuries, I have not gone through that. I'll go through that in the morning in my pregame. Let's get into what the Texans need to do tomorrow. Just keep doing what they've been doing in the last 3 games. I'm not going to say they had a good offensive game last week, but I was very impressed with the way the defense played last week. The defense I'm not going to say that they weren't playing that great of a team offensively last week, but I think the Texans defense did a great job. A lot of tackles for losses. They were great at sacking Malik Willis. They got 2 interceptions, or 3. Was it 2 or 3? I don't know. And so the Texans defense had one of their best performances last week. You got to keep doing that this week. You're playing a better offense. I think, you're at home. Keep doing what you've been doing. You've been having better defensive player performances. I don't even think the Texans are one of the worst defenses in the NFL anymore with the way they've been playing recently. I don't even think they're, top 10 when it comes to worst defenses in the NFL, because the Texans have been playing really good defense this year when it comes to their interceptions and their sacks and their tackles for losses. Malik Collins has been doing really good. Okongwu did great last week with tackles for losses and sacks. So Texans need to bring pressure to Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence is only 3 games against the Texans. He has thrown 6 or 7 picks in his NFL debut against the Texans. He threw 3. I think he threw 1 or 2 in his second game against the Texans, and they threw 1 earlier in the season. So, try to get some picks off of Trevor. Trevor's been playing way better football now than he was earlier in the season, but try to get some picks. Maybe Petrie goes after one. I think he's been really great this season. So, and then what else you got to do? I'm not going to say the offense was good last week, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It wasn't good, and it wasn't bad. The offense did some good things. The run game wasn't that productive, but it was all right. Our pass game was all right. Brandon Cooks had a good game. Davis Mills did not have a bad game. I mean, he threw 198 when Jeff Driscoll threw like 35. So as a team, we threw like 230 something, and like 231 or 232 as a team passing wise. So I think Davis Mills needs to target Brandon Cooks a couple times. He's been a Jaguars killer the last couple years. I say target Chris Moore a little bit. He didn't have the best game against the Titans. I don't think he had a great game at all. He had like 2 receptions for like 12 yards. But besides last week, he's been playing some great football. Davis Mills needs to go back to him. Something the Texans did not do a lot as they did last week was what they've been doing is that 2 quarterback system. They did it. Jeff Driscoll threw like 4 times last week, but did not run the ball as much. Texans need to go back to that a little bit. Also, they threw the ball to Jeff Driscoll last week, which caught my eye. I predicted that they were going to do that. So I just think that the Texans need to go back to a little bit of that 2 QB system. Their offense was better. They put up 24 against the Chiefs. They put up 23 against the Cowboys. I know it was kind of in the number. They put up 19 against the Titans, which is a little bit less than 23 and 24, but they weren't going as much as that two QB system as they were before that against the Cowboys and the Chiefs. So I think go back to that a little more, and you could get yourself a win. I don't think they will. I got the Texans losing this one 23-16. I think this game goes down to the wire. I think the Texans control it. If the Texans lose this game, I think the Texans control this game most of the game, like through 3 quarters, maybe most of the 4th quarter, and then let this one slip, and the Jaguars get the win. But I got the Jaguars winning this one 23-16. They've been truly such a good team this year, and I think that the Texans are not going to be able to take care of business. But at the same time, this is like a game where I can see the Texans losing, but I can see the Texans winning. It's just all about how they play. The Texans are a team where you don't know where they're going to play, how they're going to play the next week. So, and the Jaguars, they've been a team consistently the last couple of weeks. They've been playing good every single game. So I just think you've got to go with the Jags winning this one to tomorrow. And also, I don't know if I really want the Texans to win this game tomorrow. I don't think it would be secure for the Texans to try to win this game tomorrow, because if you win this game tomorrow, let's say you win this game tomorrow, then you face off the Week 18 against the Colts, who have been like literally the worst offense in the NFL. The Texans are the 3rd worst offense in the NFL. The Colts and the Broncos are before that. You're playing the worst offense in the NFL, a team who's tanking just like you are, Week 18. So if you win tomorrow and you win against the Colts, you could get the 2nd or 3rd pick, and I don't think that is smart for the Houston Texans. I think they need to lock up this 1st overall pick. I don't care if you're drafting Bryce Young. I don't care if it's Bryce Young who you're drafting, whoever you're drafting. Because, if you get the 2nd overall pick and the Bears get the 1st, it's not like the Bears are going to draft Bryce Young. They have Justin Fields. But even if, I still want you to lock up the 1st overall pick just to secure everything. But I think it could be even more dangerous, because if you were to win the final 2 games, I think also you could go all the way down to like 4 if you were to win the final 2 games. So the Texans need to lose one of these 2 games. They do. Because if you win both of these, you're either getting the 2nd to 4th overall pick, depending on how the other teams do. Most likely, you would get the 3rd. No, most likely you get the 4th if you win out. So, no, actually, I think they would maybe get the 3rd. It depends if they'd have. I don't think they'd have a tiebreaker with the Broncos. But I don't know. The Texans would end up getting the 4th overall pick if they wouldn't win out. So the Texans need me. I say you personally, as a Texans, as a smart strategy, I say you go for the win tomorrow, and then you let the Colts beat you in Week 18. I know that sounds stupid, but the Colts are a team who are set up to get a top 5 to top 6 pick, and if they win, that could, they could go up in the draft. And they're a team that you faced every 2 years, and maybe taking an L to them, you can get their draft pick up. And get their draft pick worse, and maybe you don't have to deal with a bigger problem. They're still going to draft a quarterback, but maybe you don't have to deal with C.J. Stroud every year. Maybe you just have to deal with Will Levis. I'm not no shot at Will Levis. I just think C.J. Stroud is a way more talented quarterback than Will Levis. So maybe you take the L to the Colts just so you don't have to play C.J. Stroud twice every season. I think that's a smart strategy when it comes to the division. But I think the Texans could win this game tomorrow. I just think it depends on how you play, how the Jaguars play. Are they saving their energy for the next game against the Titans? I think that could be a very big possibility. Are the Jaguars going to save their energy for their matchup against the Titans tomorrow? Against the Titans next week. I think there is a lot of possibilities that the Jaguars think about it and they figure out, even if we win or lose tomorrow, it doesn't affect our game next week. We still got a game that we need to go win next week against the Titans. So maybe the Jaguars don't put in all their energy against the Texans tomorrow. I don't know. I think I think the Texans Jaguars is a really hard game to figure out. You guys give me your predictions for tomorrow's game. That's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace out. Let's go Texans.